Good morning, this is Carly Kovacic with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City. I will be presenting you with this week's weather briefing. Alright, let's start with the forecast for today. We're going to have a very slow-moving, weak disturbance in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere that's going to help generate showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today, particularly during the late morning into the afternoon hours. I've tried to highlight that in the top image that you see. The disturbance is currently over Alabama, and it's just kind of going to meander across that area throughout today. But it's going to provide that necessary vertical motion to kickstart these showers and thunderstorms. With that being said, some of these storms could be strong to marginally severe. The Storm Prediction Center has highlighted the far southwestern portion of our forecast area in a marginal risk. The main threats with any strong to marginally severe storms are going to be heavy rain. We've got a lot of moisture in place, frequent lightning, and some strong gusty winds. The best chances for this activity is going to be in the late morning into the afternoon hours. We'll start to see that coverage rapidly decline towards and after sunset tonight. And shown on the bottom left image is a simulated radar reflectivity image from one of our higher resolution models. This is not to be taken as verbatim, but I just want to give you an idea of where this coverage is going to be later this afternoon, for the most part at least. And attached on the bottom right, you can see the probability of precipitation that we have in our current forecast. And you can see across northwestern and northern Georgia, we're going to see those highest chances, and that kind of correlates well with where the upper level disturbance is across Alabama. We can see that those probability of precipitation percentages are still across the entire area, but you can see they are lower as we get towards the southern and eastern portion of our area. Now taking a look at Friday, that disturbance I mentioned in the previous slide is going to still be around. It's going to linger a little bit, but it's going to be very, very weak and subtle by Friday. In addition to this, we're also going to have a drier surface ridge begin to move into the area. And you can see that in the top image that I have right here. The white line indicates the pressure, the surface pressure. And the kinks across the Carolinas into the Georgia-Alabama area, that's evidence of a surface ridge. And the dew points are shown in color, with the warmer colors, the darker reds indicating more moisture, and the yellows and the lighter orange indicating less moisture. So you can see some slightly drier air begin to work its way into the region with this ridge. So this ridge is going to act to suppress thunderstorm activity across most of our area on Friday. However, there is going to be some lingering moisture across the northern and western portions of our forecast area. I've tried to highlight that on the bottom image here. The white and green colors you see do highlight the lingering moisture, so we are going to keep a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms across that area of our forecast area, but overall, not expecting anything severe, just expecting some isolated developments where we do have that lingering moisture. But overall, compared to what we're going to see today, Friday will overall be a generally pleasant day. Now let's take a look at what's in store for this weekend. Now between the 2 days, Saturday looks like the drier of the two. We're still going to have the influence of that surface ridge persist through the morning into the afternoon hours. And again, this is likely to suppress thunderstorm development for most of the day. Can't rule out a pop-up shower or thunderstorm somewhere in our area, but overall, the drier, more stable air is going to act for an overall pleasant day across our area. Now, as we get into Saturday night going into Sunday, we are going to see that moisture begin to return. I've tried to highlight that in the two images that I've shown here. You can see the difference between the two. Saturday, overall dry and pleasant across the area. And as we go into Sunday, shown on the right, we do see that moisture begin to increase across the entire area. And this is going to happen as that ridge begins to break down. So we are going to introduce shower and thunderstorm activity back into the forecast beginning Sunday, mainly in the afternoon and evening hours, and at this point we're not expecting anything severe. It's definitely looking like an unsettled work week is in store for next week. We're going to be undergoing a pattern change. And what I mean by that is the typical dry conditions, warm, pleasant conditions that we've been experiencing are going to transition in more to a warm, wet pattern. I don't know if any of you have been following along with what's been going on in the southern plains lately, but they have been in a persistent wet pattern where they've been experiencing rain almost every day. That type of pattern is going to shift east a little bit into the lower and mid Mississippi Valley, so not right over us, but closer to us than it was before. So this is going to keep that moisture in place across our area through at least the middle portion of next week. So with this ample moisture coupled with the warm temperatures each afternoon, that's going to spark shower and thunderstorm development. Any disturbance that ends up moving across the state in the upper levels is also going to enhance that thunderstorm coverage each day as well. So going into next week, it doesn't look like there is a certain dry day, nor does it look like there's a solid severe weather chance at any point next week. It's basically just going to be those afternoon showers and thunderstorms that increase in coverage with the enhancement of any upper level disturbance that might be moving through as well. Now let's move on to tropical weather. While our forecast area is not coastal, please remember that hurricane season will begin June 1st, which is next week, and last through November 30th. Yesterday, the Climate Prediction Center released its official 2015 Atlantic hurricane season outlook. With El Niño conditions expected this summer, hurricane activity is expected to be below normal. However, it's important to keep in mind to not let your guard down after hearing this, as it only takes one storm to wreak havoc and cause major damage. Even though below normal activity is expected, please keep in mind that there still is a slight chance for near normal, about 20% activity, and a very slight chance for above normal activity, about 10%. And I just want to throw in that Hurricane Andrew is a great example of a Category 5 hurricane that developed during a below normal season. So the main takeaway is this: although a below average season is expected, it does only take one storm to cause major damage, even in our area, though we aren't technically coastal. So with the previous slide in mind, let's take a closer look at the tropics. Remember, the best place to look at what's expected across the Atlantic Ocean is through the National Hurricane Center. You can see on the left image that no tropical cyclone activity is expected over the next 48 hours, despite the presence of a disturbance across the middle Atlantic, which is shown on the right in the recent infrared satellite image. So I know I've thrown a lot of information at you through this presentation, but here are the main takeaways from that. We'll start with today. Showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop late this morning and increase in coverage as we go into the afternoon. A few of these storms could be strong to marginally severe, with the main threats being heavy rain, frequent lightning, and strong gusty winds. The Storm Prediction Center has outlined the far southwestern portion of our forecast area in a marginal risk. However, we're not expecting widespread severe weather anywhere across our forecast area today. Moving into Friday, we're still going to see some isolated storms develop mainly in the afternoon, and this is going to be most likely across the north and western portion of our forecast area. We're going to see some lingering moisture in that area, but the rest of our forecast area should be beginning to be under the influence of a surface ridge ridging down from the east or from the western Atlantic. So that's going to suppress widespread thunderstorm development as it brings in some slightly drier and more stable air into most of our area. Our weekend's going to start out nice. Saturday definitely looks like the better day between the two. Saturday we're still going to have the influence of that surface ridge lingering around, and again that's going to act to suppress thunderstorm development with the slightly drier and more stable air that's going to carry with it. But as we get into Saturday night going into Sunday, we are going to see that ridge break down, which is going to bring more moisture into the area. So we're going to go ahead and introduce that chance of showers and thunderstorms back into the forecast beginning Sunday afternoon. And it looks like this pattern's going to linger at least through the middle portion of next week as we start to undergo a pattern change. Again, we're going to start to see a wetter pattern start to move slightly eastward from the southern plains into the lower and mid Mississippi Valley area. So again, that's just going to make this moisture linger, and that coupled with daytime heating from the sun during the afternoon hours each day, and throw in a couple very weak atmospheric disturbances, and we've got some type of shower and thunderstorm coverage each afternoon. Overall, we can't pinpoint a day where it looks like there's any type of severe weather threat. It looks like it's going to mostly be those afternoon into the evening isolated to scattered thunderstorm development, where maybe we could have a few stronger storms embedded within that. Moving on to the tropics, I stated that the Climate Prediction Center has released the official 2015 hurricane activity outlook, and it is calling for below normal activity across the ocean this season. However, that does not mean that there's not going to be any tropical development at all, and it's important to remember that it only takes one storm to cause major damage. In addition to that, the tropics look fairly quiet at this time. We do have that slight disturbance out in the middle of the ocean, but that's not really expected to organize into much. With that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up this briefing for this week. We will be back next week, next Thursday, and we'll have the next briefing up sometime next Thursday afternoon. Until then, have a great weekend and a great start to next week.